Happy New Year, Happy New Decade. It's us and welcome to another video. This week I decided to read the book The Afterlife of Holly Chase because my school book club is reading it, so I read it as part of that. My friend told me this, but I also realized that it really aligned to what I wanted to talk about this week, which is New Year's resolutions. Holly Chase is kind of more of a Christmas story because it's like a modern twist on the classic Christmas Carol plot. It's about a girl named Holly, and she used to be a very sweet girl when she was younger, but after her mom died and her stepmother came in, she was heavily influenced by her to be more obsessed with money and wealth and status rather friendship and family and that kind of things. And this caused her to be really rude and inconsiderate towards others who weren't as well off as she was, such as her housekeeper, and it caused her to lose her best friend. And so one Christmas, in the middle of the night, she gets a visit by the three ghosts, the Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. And they warn her that because of her habits, if she doesn't change, she is going to die. But she brushes it off, she thinks it's a joke, and sure enough, the next day she gets hit by a car and dies. And so this is where it's kind of the twist, because the next time we see her, she's 5 years later, and she's working for this company called Project Scrooge. And basically what they do is every year they choose somebody who is their Scrooge, someone who's obsessed with money, who's rude, who's selfish, and they focus all their attention on this one person for the whole year, and they visit them on Christmas and try to have them change for the better. And so if you couldn't tell, this is what Holly was for them. She was their Scrooge for the year, and obviously she did not work out, but for the most part they are very successful. So this is the confusing part because Holly is in the real world, but she is dead. So every day she wakes up with the same body. She's still 17. She still has a pimple on her chin that won't go away because that's what she died with. So her 6th year working there, the Scrooge they pick is also a 17-year-old, and he's a boy named Ethan. And he is very attractive in Holly's eyes, and despite all the rules and the risks that she's taking, she decides that she wants to meet him in real life. So she does go visit him, and then they start a secret relationship because she can't tell anyone else working for Project Scrooge because that would really mess up their whole thing. And so she has to keep everything really secretive. Through this relationship, Holly and Ethan, really, they become better. They share their best parts of themselves to each other. And so I think through the relationship, they really do grow as people, and even if they don't change that much, it does help them, and it opens them up to like loving someone. And so on Christmas Day, Holly and the other ghosts visit Ethan, but he refuses to change, just like Holly did. He thinks it's a joke, and he's also destined to die the next day if he does not change. Holly realizes that she does love him, and she doesn't want him to die, and so she begs him to rethink his ways, and he agrees to, and then he is saved. So later she is crossing the street to meet Steph, someone who also worked at Project Scrooge, and she's hit by a car, and she dies, but not really. Instead, she's transported back into when she died the Christmas day. And so she's 17 again, but this time she is alive and breathing. And she wakes up and she's like overjoyed and confused and everything. And so she like hugs her housekeeper and tells her she can have Christmas off, even though she was like horrible to her before. She repairs her friendship with her former best friend. She tells her dad she wants to spend time with him. And while in New York, she also saves Ethan's dad. And Ethan's dad's death was the main reason why Ethan started to go down the wrong path. So she really does change for the better as a person, and I think that's the main moral of the story I want to focus on. So with the new year, a lot of people start New Year's resolutions. One of my New Year's resolutions is to get enough sleep but also wake up earlier, and I want to do this because I think I'm a lot more productive with my time, so I get more done when I wake up early and I go to sleep early. But the hard part of this is going to bed early. And so a big tip I have for this, if you're also struggling with this, just in general, not even for New Year's resolution, is setting an alarm for when you want to shower. Because I shower at night, and so after I shower, it makes it 100 times easier to actually go to bed. I know you can just tell yourself at a certain time you're going to go shower, but for some reason, it's so much more effective when there's an alarm. And then the alarm goes off, and then you just get up and go shower. You just shut down your laptop, whatever you're using, and it's actually so much easier to go and take a shower, which leads you to being able to go to bed earlier. And this is just one resolution I have. So many people try to commit to a lot of them, and sometimes they're only able to do it for a few months or weeks or days, or they don't even get to them at all. My cousin actually made a spreadsheet a few years ago with the new system, and I really think that if you are trying to do 10 to 12 resolutions in a year, this is the best way to do it, because it starts out with one resolution per month and it keeps adding every month. So in January you'll only be doing one, and in February you'll be doing two of them, and so it gradually adds on bit by bit, but it's not overwhelming to start with, which I think is the hard part for a lot of people, because they just jump into so many and then they can't sustain it. So I think a large part of keeping your resolutions is having the motivation, and motivation is a huge struggle for me personally and for a lot of people. But I think as long as you're doing the resolutions for yourself, it makes it a lot easier to keep them. And also if you're doing it with like someone else, I think that makes it easier, because you guys can motivate each other to like work out or read a book or whatever your resolution is. I also think that if you are lacking motivation, a great way to become motivated again is watching YouTube videos of someone doing whatever you're trying to do. If you are trying to stay healthy and do a fitness plan, then doing workouts with someone on YouTube is also really helpful. I think just doing it with someone else makes it easier in a way, because you're not alone. I know I said my cousin's spreadsheet was a great way to stay organized with your New Year's resolutions, but for me, I don't like logging it because I get really discouraged if I fall behind at all, and it makes my progress worse than better. And so if you're like me, then I suggest not logging at all and just doing it for yourself, and I just want to have better habits. I hope you just don't overload yourself and put too much pressure. Like if you miss a day, that's fine. If you miss half the week, that's fine. You are starting a new habit and it takes a while to adjust. I think it's really similar to Holly's story as well. Like some people, they're able to just switch it on and become a different person, but for her it took a long time to become a better person, and so that's also the same as New Year's resolutions. Don't be too hard on yourself. So I know this whole video was about New Year's resolutions, but you really don't need New Year's or a new decade to start to become a better person. You can really make that decision every day, whenever you want, which is something I want to encourage everyone to do, even though it's a lot easier said than done. I hope you guys have a great year, and if you made any resolutions, you're successful in keeping them, and I will see you in 2 weeks again. Bye, Internet!